Hello, hello, everybody. It is Heather and Deb here, and we are coming to you on a Friday afternoon. It's a nice autumn. It's the October 30th, and it is Halloween weekend. What do you guys?
Below, we had a couple mornings in Phoenix where it was in the 40s.
Oh my gosh.
Insanely cold here. But yeah, we busted out the sweatshirts. It's such a treat.
I know. I have my sweater, even though I look like I'm in summer weather right now. I'm like half summer, I have a sweater on though when I go outside, but it's gorgeous. I love it. So,
yeah.
So this is episode 16 of Reluctantly Woo Woo. And the reason why we call it Reluctantly Woo Woo is because we were going to talk about things that a lot of people would consider woo woo. And woo woo is things that are slightly unbelievable. Yeah, they work. Somehow they work. And we are both, Deb is certified in the emotion code. I am certified in the emotion code and body code. And it is a form of energy healing that releases trapped emotions and trauma so that you can have the life that you want. And both of us, when we do the work, we're always like, we know it works because we've worked with people and we see the results. Yet it's always like, hope this works because it just sounds kind of wacky. And I've been a practitioner for 5 years, and I still am like, I can't believe I'm saying this, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's why we're calling it Reluctantly Woo Woo, because all of these things that the world considers like alternative, right? Like they're all things that they've been around way longer than modern medicine. They've been around way longer than modern education, yet we've been indoctrinated into thinking that like, this is woo woo and this is all wackadoo stuff. And so we want to talk about that and be honest about that. And even as practitioners, like we still in some ways feel like kind of woo woo, but so that's where the reluctant comes in. So today we're going to talk about what the F is a Healy and how can it help me. So I recently learned about this little device called a Healy, and it is a frequency device, and it is changing my life. And like the biggest thing is that's changing my life is the energy that I have from it. So we'll talk about that more. But as I said in the little description of this video, this device, which is the thing that I have on me right now, so it is designed. It's a German-made little device. Because Germans seem to always have it way further in advance than we do when it comes to any other stuff. Don't they?
I don't know. What's funny because I work with a lot of German folks, and I don't want to give them the satisfaction of agreeing right now.
Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, so this little device it's designed to harmonize your bioenergetic field and to enhance recovery and vitality and well-being. And it's not to cure or to treat or mitigate, diagnose, or prevent disease. And it's kind of woo-woo because it's like, how the F does this work? Right? And so Deb hasn't heard of it, and I told her a little bit about it beforehand, like a couple weeks ago when I got it, and she started asking questions, and I was like, nope, let's just wait to do this episode so that we can just kind of have real raw conversation about it.
I'm excited to find out.
Right, and we're gonna run a scan on Deb and do all the fun things that we can do with the Healy. So. As I mentioned, it's basically a frequency device. So I'm not at all going to get into the technical stuff of how it works because I don't understand how the heck it works. In the same way that I don't understand how my phone works, right. I don't understand how I just swipe up and all of a sudden this thing just comes up and then I can hit on message or I can hit on call and then I can call somebody like on the other side of the world. I don't understand how that works, yet I use it. I mean, I'd say like if I'm up for 16 hours a day, 15 hours of the day, this thing is attached to me, sadly. I don't understand how I put in the picture and then the picture goes to Instagram and then everybody sees it. I don't understand it. What I do know is that it works when I pick it up almost every time.
Almost every time.
Almost every time, right? And there are definitely glitches. And so it's the same way with the Healy. So the basics of it is that everything in our world is frequency. And still even me saying that feels totally woo-woo, right? But every single thing has a frequency to it. The sound coming out of my mouth has a frequency, right? My hands right? The picture behind Deb even has a frequency, right?
Don't have a lot of frequency.
That one definitely does. Yeah, it does. Yep. So every single thing has a frequency. And when our bodies, or whether it's our physical body, our intellectual body, our mental body, our emotional body, our spiritual body, when they experience dis-ease or imbalances, right, it's because their frequency is off. Right? There is missing a frequency, or it has a frequency of a dis-ease or imbalance. And I think I've probably said this before, but I'm intentional about using the word dis-ease, because, we're just like, oh, it's a disease, blah, blah, blah. And we think that like, it's just this, problem, but it literally is a dis-ease, like something that is not at ease in the body. Right. And so what the Healy does is somehow it is able to, once we put your information in, I'll go through that, it can scan you and see what imbalances are in your body and what frequencies it needs to bring it back to balance. Wacky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super curious because I already have questions, but I'm going to let you keep explaining.
Yeah. So what we'll do first is I'm going to show how this works, and then we'll kind of just go from there, right? So there's two. Let me explain this, and it does get a little confusing, and there's a huge learning curve when it comes to the Healy, because there's basically two different apps that you can have with the Healy. There's what they call the pink dot and the blue dot. And the pink dot is when you can run local programs on yourself. So using, like, I can plug this little wristband that has a little snap, right? I can plug this, put this on my wrist, and then, of course, now I can't for some reason get it now. I put it on my wrist. I plug into the Healy, and it sends, when I plug this into here, and I put two of them on there. I'm not going to do both of them, but I'll have both. And basically it sends a microcurrent, like from the Healy to the wristband, right? And then goes into my body. And that's the pink dot application, where it has more local programs. But then there is what they call the blue dot app. And the blue dot app is where it can scan you remotely and then send frequencies to you. Wacky.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Totally get it. Yep. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to do a scan on Deb and see what it comes up with, because it has 120 different programs of stuff that it can work on you on. So I have this, I always email anybody, like anybody that I'm working with it. I email them this PDF that has 15 pages of the different types of programs that it has. So it has what's called a gold cycle. Well, that's like the first one. And the gold cycle is running things like pure and care and balance and being. It's basically to like uplift your overall being. Right. It has programs like learning programs, like if you have trouble with concentration, with memory, with stress. If you have, they have a pain and psyche program. So if you have chronic pain, chronic back pain, tooth or jaw pain, migraines. I mean, I could go on and on. Like it has so many, like you think of it, and there's almost a program for it. Right. So like 120 different programs with like, I think it's like 440,000 different frequencies that it has. So it'll scan you and say what your body is most in resonance with, meaning what it needs, what's the most need for it. Okay. So I already got Deb's information and putting it in, and basically like I got, her name, her date of birth, her place of birth, and her picture. And that's like the address. That information is basically like your phone number. Right. And how does Deb's phone know to come to my phone? Well, it's like sending out a frequency to my number, and then they connect with each other. So that's how it works. I don't know if it's like where they're sending from. I don't know. I don't get it, but I just have to trust it because I know that it's working. Right. So I put all that information in. So one of the things that I'm going to do is we want to record your vibration. Right. And so I'm acting as proxy for Deb. And basically, when I'm working on somebody remotely, where we're using this to work on somebody remotely, I'll act as proxy. So I have this, it says place in your right hand. So I have it in my right hand, and I'm going to push this button. And basically, I'm going to think like I'm Deb. But Deb, I want you to also just think like my frequency is strong. Like just be thinking that. Okay. And so right now you can see it's just recording. The lights are hard, make it hard to see, but it just recorded her frequency. So I'm gonna save all that. Of course, it'll glitch while we're on here, right?
Right.
It always happens. Oh, come on. Why does technology do this all the time?
Because
okay,
that's supposed to work.
that's the way it is.
And it's
okay.
like, I don't know, aren't all their planets retrograde or something's going on? It's almost a full moon. We got a lot going on right now.
Gosh, I know. Okay, so while I'm re-entering your information, I'm going to do that, and we're going to do it again. It might have been just because it was sitting there for so long. What are some questions that you have so far?
Well, I mean, I think you are going to answer them. You kind of did already, because I was like, what frequencies is it going to send me? Are you going to give me a prescription for like sounds I need to listen to or colors I need to look at? Like this is like where I immediately went with like, okay. And you know what? It's always that little bit of like, oh crap, what's going to be found, you know?
Yeah. It's like, I don't want them to see that I'm messed up. I don't want them to like know something's like, you know, wrong with me. And it's not that anything's wrong. It's just that like we just have, you know, we're just in need of some frequencies, you know, at that time. So, okay, so I'm re-entering all the stuff. So it, you know, and I will say too, Healy is a newer company. They've been around for about 1.5 years, and they just opened up in the US a couple of months ago. And okay, so I'm recording your frequency again. So they opened up a couple of months ago in the US and have gone gangbusters. And there is a link to a Facebook page that I will put in the comments below. That is a page that you can go to for testimonies and just see different people's experiences with it, because it's crazy. And I will say, just like anything else, like Devin, you know this, like I love the body code, but I will never say like it is the absolute best thing in the entire world.
Right.
Because not everything works for everybody. Right. I think it's fabulous. I think it is a really great tool, right, of energy healing. And are there other great tools for energy healing? Yeah, absolutely. Right. It happens to be the one that I you know resonate with the most, but there are people that I know that are like, yeah, it didn't really work for me. And we talked about that before, of like why it doesn't work. But like what I can say with the Healy, like there are things I've used it on people and like they've experienced shifts right away. And then some people are like, not so much. But I think anytime when it comes to energy stuff, we may not think it's not working, because we may think we're experiencing the symptom and we want to treat the symptom, but really what we need to do is treat the underlying cause.
Yes.
And when the underlying cause gets treated, it doesn't necessarily mean that the symptom goes away right away.
Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes people are like, it didn't work. It's like, well, you need more,
Yeah.
you know, because it took so long for that disease and imbalance to come. So you need more.
Yeah. So, I agree with that. And time.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've talked about this before too, but quite often I hear from people, it didn't do anything. And then I'm like, but I can tell it did. You just don't notice, you know? So
that's why. Yeah, that's why I always have everybody rate everything when we do energy, when we do like heart wall removals, when we do working on statements. I always have them rate their statements or beliefs, you know, so that when they come back and they're like, oh, it didn't really work. And then we go back and rate them, and statements that they believed in to a level 10 before, like, I'm never going to be successful. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a 15. And then when we talk, they're like, it didn't really do much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, the statement, I'll never be successful. They're like, no, that's not true. I'm like, well, what would you rate it? And they're like a 0 or 1. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
Right. So, okay. So here again, the light is hard to see. And this angle is this thing. So you see, it's like, again, so the top part says resonance analysis. So we're going to, and then aura analysis. So we're going to first do a scan on Deb's aura. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh. So what you to just be thinking, my aura is strong and stable. Okay. And so it's just basically doing its little thing, and it's basically like scanning her aura and see. Okay. So, and then it comes up and it's got that little wackadoo picture. That's not that's not anything yet, right? So I'm gonna hit analyze, right? And and thank you, Deb, for like being a guinea pig, right?
Yeah.
But it shows what of her basically when we say aura, it's basically looking at her chakras, her energy centers. And her energy centers are basically our endocrine system, starting from our sexual glands all the way up to our pineal below the top of our head, or crown chakra, right? So I'm gonna just text this to you right now, just so that you can see it, like it's easier to see it.
Yeah, I noticed check marks and I'm like, I need to know already.
Right. Right. So the check marks basically are that they're the lowest of the energy centers. So for people can see, they're the lowest of the energy centers. And there's that glare that's hard to see. But the yellow all the way to like this camera is backwards, so it's really hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So the yellow, it says total, right? That's basically the average of all of them. And then from there it goes crown, forehead, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. Okay. I just went backwards. So it's saying right now that her third eye chakra, her heart chakra, and sacral chakra are they need a little love right now. Just need a little love and attention. Right? And know that this is always like at a moment in time. So I did this I was at a women's retreat a couple weekends ago, and we were doing plant medicine. We were doing ayahuasca, and I scanned one of my girlfriends before the weekend and then after the weekend, and seeing the shift in her chakras was crazy. Yeah. It's just so cool. So it's like we could shift them easily. So basically it's just going to do, it's analyzing the chakras, and it's going to come up with a PDF that I will send to you. And then it's basically like, now it's going to each of those low chakras and analyzing them. And again, it's just going through all of them. And then it comes up with this whole description, which is slightly confusing, to be honest. I'm still slightly confused by it. And I'm going to email this to you. And again, it's slightly confusing. The way I look at it is like, okay, these chakras are low, and just send me the frequencies. I don't care. Yeah. Like, so that's how I look at it. Some people like to read it and they're like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I'm like, just read the information, right? Because it can be a lot. So it's just doing its thing, and it's going to get the PDF, and I can email that to you. But of course, it's always going to take so much longer because we're on here, right? Yes, exactly. And again, we're just, I'm just going to text it or email to you and just say chakras. Okay. Date 10, 30, 20. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run some energy, like frequencies, on your chakras. Okay. And I can choose it for anywhere from a minute and 20 seconds to like 9 hours. Okay. On average, you want to run something no more than 12 minutes generally for people that are like healthy. But if you were like had a ton of imbalances and you were really unhealthy, I would only run it on you for a short amount of time. Okay. But I'm just because of now and time wise, I'm just going to run it for a minute and 20 seconds. And so you can see is that it's basically just running frequencies right now on you. Okay. On those energy centers. Okay. And it's not like you're going to be like, oh, I think I'm going to be walking on air now. Right, it's not like that. Just like anything, it's like the more you do over time, the difference that's the difference that you're going to feel. Right. Yeah. I feel like there's some questions swirling in your head and thoughts about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just curious, does it always only give you like your three lowest? Does it like, or were those, because they didn't, I don't know because I'm looking at the chart, but I'm like, they don't look like they're like, I'm not going to like keel over, they're so low, or most of them are, I mean, 56 is pretty low in my heart chakra. And actually, it's not surprising given what I just shared with you, because I feel like it's like that one was feeling some stuff in the past week. But most of them are, 80s. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious, like if somebody were to be, I guess it flagged only ones that were below 7 or below 80. If there were more of them that were that low, would it flag more than 3? Or does it only ever flag 3 at a time?
It flags the lowest 3.
Okay.
The lowest 3 of all of them. So if they were all low, and like say all of them, were like 30 and below, but like one was 10%, one was 11%, one was 12%, like they would flag those.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Generally, what have you seen so far for people? Like, where do most people that you've done so far lie overall? Like, are most people above the 50% mark, or?
Most people are above the, and honestly, when I'm running it on people, like, and doing it remotely, like, I'm more about like, okay, let's just get the frequencies out. Like, it depends on the reason of why I'm doing it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, like if I were going to do like, so I have a client who we were talking the other day and she's like, you know what? She's like, can you do some energy work in my crown chakra? Like, I just feel like something's off there. And I was like, sure, absolutely. So I was like, we'll run the Healy on your chakras. And I'll also do body code stuff on your, I checked all of her chakras. And so
that her crown was low.
It wasn't the lowest of all of them. It wasn't not when I did either the body code or checking that, right? But she was like, yeah, and I'm like, absolutely, it's good sometimes. So and so what that brings up is, and David is watching, and he had said, that it's based on quantum physics. It is, and I don't understand quantum physics, and very few people do. So like, how
I try, but
right?
I mean, we try,
right? We try, yeah. So. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So why I love the resonance, which is what they call the blue dot one, is because that can do a scan on you, right? And see what you need. If you just have the pink dot, then you have to go through and pick the programs that you may think that you need.
Okay.
And so you may be like, oh, I have a headache. I need to run a headache program. But really the headache is the symptom. And there's something deeper that actually needs to be checked.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where then what we're going to do now on you is we're going to just run an overall scan, a resonance scan on you, and to see which of the programs that your body needs. Okay. So you're going to ask the question, and this question is confusing for people, is that you're going to ask it out in your head, and I'm going to act as proxy for you on this. I want you to still be thinking that is, with what do I have the greatest resonance with now? And where it gets confusing, at least everybody that I've talked to so far with it, they're like, well, if I resonate with it, then why do I need it? And the way that I understand it is if, you're in a desert and you've been there for, 2 days and you're dying of thirst. And would you be dead by 2 days of not having water? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're dying of thirst and you come across the bar and it's got alcohol and soda and water. And you'd say, well, what is your body in most like resonance with now? It would be the water. Like, it's just like, I'm resonating with that water so much. Like I'm so like, that is what I just need the most. And so that's how I understand the question. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you just be thinking with what do I have the greatest resonance with now? And I'm going to just run it on all the programs. We're just going to scan all of the 120 programs. Okay. So just be thinking with what do I have the greatest resonance? And I'm basically just putting my finger on, and we're thinking with what do I have the greatest resonance right now? And it's picking up on Deb's frequency, even though I'm acting as proxy for her, because in my mind right now, I am Deb, which again, sounds totally wackadoo and woo-woo. We get it. And again, I'll screenshot this to you right now, just so you can see, but I'll also email you the PDF. And this is what takes the time. I'm not going to take time to, yes, I am. When you go to screenshot and it always sends that little thing that says screenshot at, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yours did come through weird. Yeah.
It came through weird?
Well, it came through from your iCloud versus your phone number.
Oh yeah, because I this is my old phone, and this is my like dedicated Healy thing, like Healy thing that helps. So how did it come through? Like it just didn't.
Oh no, it just came through on a separate, basically on a separate thread. Looked like a different address.
Ah, interesting. I didn't think about that, but that makes sense.
No, it's fine. It just, I guess, I don't know, would it work if you weren't, because it's iCloud. So if you weren't sending to an iPhone, would it send?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole other technology. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. So, okay. So what it picks up, and y'all can see it again. I know that lighting is kind of hard, but it's saying that right now, like so you see it says all Healy programs, because I ran it on all the Healy programs. I didn't just pick up on her program. And it says that she's 62% in need of the Healy Meridians program 2. Because there's Healy Meridians program 1, Healy Meridians program 2. And then she's 59% need of the pain and psyche programs. Okay. And then we go down, it's 50% in need of the learning programs, 55% in the gold cycle, and then 45 in the fitness programs. So again, and I'm going to run this on you, and I'm going to run this for 12 minutes. And this will basically be running the whole time we're going to talk. So we'll wrap up soon. So what was the first one that came up for you?
It says Healy Meridians 2.
Oh, the Meridians 2. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go in my little PDF here and find the Healy Meridians 2. And so the different programs of the Healy Meridians 2 is hormonal, energetic balancing of the hormones, circulation, energetic regulation of blood circulation, liver, energetic metabolic. Why can't I say it? Metabolism regulation. Oh my gosh. All day today I've been having trouble with words. Lungs, lymphatic system, stomach, spleen, pancreas, nerve meridians, kidneys, and then overall organ meridians, right? So something in those that your body was like, hey, that's what I need rebalancing in. Okay. And then was the second one learning programs? I think it was.
I think so. Let me look again. Second one was pain psyche program.
Oh, pain psyche. Okay. So the pain and psyche ones, they have chronic pain. It's and then chronic back pain, tooth and jaw, joints, migraine, insomnia, depression, and anxiety. Right. And so what's interesting is like I've run this on some people, and like pain comes up I'll pick just like up and like no, like I don't feel depressed or anything. Yeah. And again, that's where I'm kind of like I don't like maybe not, maybe it's a bunch of BS. Who knows? But I also think that I know. So in Chinese medicine, there is. Like have you ever gone to a Chinese practitioner?
Not really, no.
So they can literally just feel your pulse and like be like, oh, this is wrong. It's crazy. And what I've been told is that if a body is like diseased or imbalanced, a really good Chinese practitioner, it could be 35% imbalance and they'll pick up on it. But our like modern medicine, a disease has to be there at about 65% before their tools can pick up on it. And so why is it then they're like, oh, it's too late? Well, our tools aren't refined enough to really pick up on that kind of stuff. And so with the Healy, and it picks up on stuff, I'm like, it's picking up on stuff that we may not even be experiencing the symptoms of yet, but it's there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And that's the only way that I can understand it.
No, that I can buy into for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it basically it checks you in real time what's going on for you at that moment, to see what you need. So for me, what I said at the beginning, like it's totally changed my world, is that my energy is off the roof. Is that right? It's off. Yes. Like it is. It's crazy what my energy is now. I live in the city. I don't know if I ever told you this. I know you know I live in the city, but I used to park my car out on the street instead of in the parking garage of my apartment building, so that I would be forced to get out of bed in the morning to go move my car so I wouldn't get a ticket in the morning. And that would like make me get up. Putting arm on my room didn't do it. Like I had to get my ass all the way out of bed and move my car. And there were times even that I would then crawl into bed, back into bed after that. So that didn't even work. Like energy has always been a struggle for me. And I know that sugar is a huge part of that, right? And so I'm not having sugar, so that definitely helps. But like I can go to bed 10, 11, and I'm like, 6:45 before my alarm even goes off. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? What are we going to do today? Like, I'm like, okay, settle down, Heather. Like, just sit in bed, meditate, do your breath work. Cause I'm like, let's go. Right? Yeah. My energy has been crazy. So some other things that I've seen with this, my brother, when we were at the beach, we were surfing and he got water in his ears and then wind in his ears. So it's like this horrible feeling. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be dead for the day. He thought he was just going to have to crawl in bed and just isolate himself for the rest of the day. And I was like, well, let's try this thing. I had literally just gotten it when I was down at the beach and put these electrodes, like I put them behind his ears. And because I showed you the wrist things, but they have electrodes too that you can attach to, like those little like pads. And 20 minutes later, he's like, yeah, I'm good. And I burnt myself when first I had this thing. I burnt myself. I was moving a candle. I burnt myself and I was like running underwater. And I was like, oh, I should put the Healy on it. And it was like, you can see it red and starting to like blister. So I just put the Healy on it and like no blister, no redness, no pain the next day, nothing.
That's pretty crazy.
Really crazy. Really, really crazy. So people that I've been using, I've been using it with my some of my clients. I haven't even rolled this out to my clients yet and told them all about it yet. But with my clients, I'll run it on them as much as they want me to, which is part of like the package of me working with them. But my family, just because they're my family and I want to see them feel good, I've been running it on them every day and sometimes twice a day. Sometimes I run in the morning and then at night I'll run the sleep program. And like they've all been like, yeah, like I'm waking up like with more energy, like I'm having sounder sleep, like I just overall feel a lot better. So there's so many different things that you can do with it. And like it's like crazy how much you can do with it. When you first get it, there's a protocol to follow through and sending down the gold cycle for yourself. So like I'll run it like 2 days in the morning and night. I'll run the pure program morning and night for 2 days, and then the care program morning and night. So just to kind of like rebalance like your body. And again, is it placebo effect? Is it a whole bunch of horseshit?
Does it matter?
I mean, doesn't matter. Exactly.
That's kind of how I feel about that kind of stuff. When people are like, yeah, it's just placebo. I'm like, if it got results, why do you care?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why, like I said, like on the Facebook page, I'll share that link. It's crazy because just seeing testimonies of different things is just really crazy to see what happens, with people. And again, nothing is absolutely great for every single person, right? And there's things that may take time. And there's also like my boyfriend right now, he's not feeling well. And I was like, well, we have been running the Healy on you like a couple of times a day. And he did eat sugar the other day too. And I'm like, those things, sugar suppresses your immune system, right? And I'm running the Healy on you and you can have, what they call a healing crisis. I don't like the word crisis, but it's like the healing effect. Basically, you're shoving the toxins out. And so they have to go somewhere and your body's going to respond. And so you feel like crap. So you get worse before you get better. And that's just natural. And that's like, yay, stuff's moving out. I know it's working.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So that can help. That can definitely make a big difference too. And so for people who are like chronically ill, you always want to go like little bits at a time. I know of people who've run it on people who have had like really like big chronic problems and they have to just go increments, like just running, you can run frequency for like 30 seconds and it's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, like microdosing almost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I run it on Charlie, on my dog. I was trying to see where he was, but I run it on Charlie, and I won't run it on him for more than 1 minute and 20 seconds because I did it once and he was like just dead for the day.
Yeah.
He was like, well, this is too much.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah. So it is okay. It's crazy. I don't fully get it, but I'm having fun playing with it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So,
like how many people have this device in the US? Are you like one of very few, or?
oh gosh, I can't remember the exact numbers. Like when they rolled it out, like it was, I mean, it's a good amount of people. And because it's a new company, there definitely have been like, glitches that run with every new company, and they're just, they're operating all over the world. And then you have shipping issues because of one, operating all over the world. Plus, we're in the time of, this pandemic. So like, we got all this stuff going on. So I don't know exactly how many. I don't know the answer to that. So, so if you want, I can put you on my list and, run it on you every day for like the next week and see, we can then touch back next.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, I need to like add it to my list right now, just so then otherwise I'll be like, I'll forget somebody. And do you have trouble sleeping?
Not usually, but it is funny because when you listed from that one of those two things that we were just talking about, I have been sleeping a bit shitty the past week, but I just attributed it to stuff I know, stuff I'm aware of going on with me, kind of processing some of my own emotional stuff. But yeah, I don't usually have one bit of trouble sleeping ever. And I like look forward to going to bed at night. I don't have a hard time getting up in the morning. I'm a crazy early morning person and I don't struggle with it. But this past week, yeah. And even one night that I couldn't, like, I went to get into bed. It was one of those days where I was like tired all day to the point where I was like, I could lay on the freaking carpet right now and just fall asleep like halfway through the day. And then I got to nighttime, it was time to go to bed, and I was like, can't fall
asleep. That's adrenals. Oh my gosh, that's the worst feeling ever, but that is adrenals.
Yeah, right? That's so rare for me though. But I think it was just, I had a lot. When I'm processing emotions, I feel them very physically. So that's kind of where I didn't write too much into it. I assumed that's why.
Yeah. So, well, if you want me to run sleep stuff, like let me know and I can run sleep at night. I'll do my best because I'm running it on a bunch of people. So you can see it's not hard. I don't have to do a ton, but like I do have a life too. And I'm not sitting by the thing all the time. Believe it or not, I do have a life. I kind of that. So, and speaking of that, we need to wrap this up because I gotta go. But for anybody who's watching, if you're interested in it, I'm gonna link that the Facebook group. Check that out, and then if you have other questions, shoot me a message. If you want to experience it. It took me a while to like really talk about this. I want to create like a standardized email just so like, here's all the questions because I don't have time to be answering the questions all the time. There's so much information on YouTube and there's so much. I mean, like, I can include a playlist. If you want me to send you a playlist, shoot me a message. I'll send you a playlist just to look at all this stuff up because there's a ton of stuff. This basically when I was on vacation, I just like dove deep and like was reading a book about it, reading all this stuff. And I'm just like, how this girl who used to think that nothing is like energy and frequencies and that all that stuff was horse shit to now like, oh, you want me to run frequencies on you? Like, who have I become?
You're allowed to reinvent.
I don't know. Exactly.
Just before we got on the call. But yeah, I think next week we can kind of do a little check-in and see, what have I noticed? I'll journal stuff and I'm all about it.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you everybody for watching and checking in, listening, whichever way that you're listening to this. And if you have any questions or you're like, gosh, I don't understand this energy stuff, or I really could use some energy work, both me and Deb would be more than happy to help you with that and love helping people release trapped emotions and trauma because it creates space and space gives you room for creativity. Creativity leads to so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Have a great day. Night, everyone. Bye.